All right, I'm Chris Stew here with on LCU Shaps. However, you're joining us on the social media world. Well, we got Buck Britton, former LCU baseball standout, was in the Hall of Honor, was an NAI All-American. He's currently the Norfolk Tide manager. That's the AAA for the Baltimore Orioles, and Buck teams at 500 right now, sitting 3 games back as we were talking about it before we got on, just a slew of games upcoming. So I certainly appreciate you joining us as we want to talk to you about having the opportunity to be kind of a participant in the Major League Baseball All-Star Game festivities, as you were chosen as the pitcher for Gunnar Henderson in the Home Run Derby. An opportunity that you being a Dallas-Fort Worth native, an opportunity to go home, especially being out in Norfolk in the International League. You probably don't get to come back to this area much, but certainly in season. But let's start with Gunnar choosing you to be his pitcher. Where did the idea come from on his standpoint? Where were you when you were contacted? And how long did it take you to say yes?
Yeah, no question. First off, man, it's great to see you. It's been a long time. Um, yeah, so it's kind of unique how it all came together. Obviously, I've known Gunnar for a long time. He was a 19-year-old kid when I first met him in 2020 during the COVID baseball season, which was in itself very unique. We were at the alternate major league site in Bowie, Maryland, just a handful of players, and in walked this 19-year-old kid straight out of high school. And that's kind of really where the relationship started. Fast forward 4 years. Um, I had him in Double A for a little bit. I had him in 22 in Triple A, and now he's been in the big leagues the last year and a half or 2 years. But uh, I don't know exactly why my name entered his mind for BP. I had thrown to him before. He likes hitting off my batting practice. Um, so they were actually on the West Coast in Seattle, and so they're the 3 hours behind us. Their game hasn't started, and I was in the second inning of a game in here in Norfolk, and my phone lit up, and it was Gunnar Henderson. And typically, the only people that text me during games are the front office, for moves, whether it be up or down from the major league club. And so I went ahead and I opened it up. It kind of just struck me as to why he would be reaching out. And there was a text message in there asking if I had any plans for the All-Star break. And if I didn't, how much he would appreciate it if I was able to throw to him in the Derby. And uh, in my mind, I immediately said yes. But I didn't know how professional it would look if I responded to him, you know, him knowing that I was in the third inning of a AAA game, where my focus should be on the guys that are there on the field. So I waited till after the game to respond. And um, obviously, that's a once in a lifetime opportunity that I wasn't going to pass up.
Well, I was watching the Cubs Orioles game on Marquee Network, and then they broke in showing video of you and him uh, getting some practice time in. Talk about just getting prepared for that event. Uh, I know Boog and all those Cubs broadcast was talking about how you do need to practice because you're not using the turtle, which is kind of the net system that you
Yeah.
see in normal batting practice. Was that part of it? Was to just get some practice in? And oh, by the way, you're a AAA manager. So how were you able to get to Baltimore from Norfolk and then meet back up with your team?
Yeah, actually, the idea was sprung from our major league staff, because honestly, I hadn't thrown to Gunner in 2 years, almost 2 years. And most of the guys that go to the Derby, these are personal batting practice pitchers, guys that they spend a lot of time with. Um, so the major league staff was like, "Hey, you know what? Come up. It would be a good time for you to get around the major league club a little bit this year, and also work out some time to practice with Gunner because, like you said, the whole dynamic of it is different than anything that you do over the course of a season." Um, so we were able to go up there. Unfortunately, the major league team wasn't playing very well going into the break, and Gunnar himself was scuffling a little bit. So the video that was shown of us practicing was the only practice that we got, and it didn't last more than about 5 6 minutes. Gunnar he's such a competitor, and he wants to win so much that his obviously his priority is on the regular season games that are left. and our major league team sitting up top of the division. So there was a lot riding with the Yankees coming into town after the Cubs. So that was really the only practice we had. It was, obviously we knew we were going to have fun with it. There was no expectations on his end going into it. He wanted to enjoy the moment. We were going to enjoy it together. And I essentially was up there throwing BP to other players, in the batting cages during games, just to keep my arm fresh and kind of figure out the timing, with the unique, the new rules that they implemented this year for the Derby, where you had 40 pitches or 3 minutes. Trying to figure out the timing on that was a challenge in itself. But yeah, that was all the major league staff's idea to get me up there, and it was nice to be able to spend some time not just around Gunnar, but also that major league team before the All-Star break.
Do you typically pitch BP to your guys?
Yeah, I throw the first group every day, every chance I can. I really do enjoy throwing batting practice. So I think I was conditioned for it. It's just the timing of it. You're not throwing. There's not as much riding on every pitch that you throw during a batting practice before the game starts as there is where all 40 pitches matter in that Derby setting, which was pretty intense and pretty incredible.
Hey, now I recall you hitting I think it was in Oklahoma City, 2015. You hit a walk-off home run in like the 19th inning, something crazy like that.
With Coulombe's base hit, the Dodgers are 8 for 60 tonight. Buck Britton batting to the left side. First pitch. Swings, hits a high drive. Right field, towards the wall. This ball is gone! Buck Britton! 2-run walk-off home run. Bottom of the 19th. A 6-4 Dodgers win in what might be, no, it is the biggest win of the season. He made the spectacular defensive play in the top of the inning. He hits a walk-off home run in the bottom of the inning. 6-4 the final in 19.
You've hit home runs yourself. I recall your LCU days having a lot of first pitch home runs or first at bat, leadoff at bat home runs to lead off games. Back in your LCU days, who was throwing to you? And if you were entering the Derby, who would you want throwing to you?
Yeah, the guy that threw to me pretty much every day at LCU was Bob Fannin, and he threw great BP. If I ever had an opportunity, I still keep in touch with Fannin. He's probably one of my favorite coaches that I've ever had. And if I ever had the opportunity to do something cool like that, it might have been somebody that I would have called to do that, because as much as you want to win and everything that you do, there was a reason behind every one of those guys that was chosen to throw. Like I said, most of them were personal BP pitchers, but in order to be that, you got to have a pretty deep relationship that you're going to grind with the guy in the off season, as much as those guys that threw did. Bobby Witt Jr.'s guy was his brother-in-law, James Russell, who's a Texas native, whose dad pitched in the big leagues and who he himself pitched in the big leagues. So there's different ties to everybody in there, but yeah, wouldn't have been able to do my dad because he can't throw batting practice, and I wouldn't have picked my brother because that would have been a nightmare. So I don't know. Fannin would have been that would have been a fun call, and we would have had a really good time, no doubt.
That seems like a very comical call as well. I'd be a fly in the room, if you will, to hear that conversation. So just getting to Arlington had to be a thrill getting to go home. What was the logistics to get you in there? Because I know I chatted with you. I was at the draft, which was on a Sunday, but everybody's playing on Sunday. And then it's bang, the Derby's Monday nights. It's pretty much one of the leadoff events that the players get to partake in. Some get to get involved with the futures game and stuff like that, but a lot of this stuff goes on beginning Monday.
Yeah. Yeah, one of the benefits also of being with that major league team before the break was that after that Sunday game, I believe we had 5 All-Stars from the Orioles. And they chartered a plane. So the game was at 11:30 in the morning. It was I believe it was the Apple TV game. So that gave us kind of a little bit of a kind of a head start, if you will. And we were on a jet by 6 o'clock. We got into Arlington about 8, right over to the hotel. So the travel was pretty easy. When you start getting around these major league organizations, there's a lot of access they have to things travel wise to get you places quickly. So it was from the ballpark, take a bus to the little private airport, hop on the plane, take off, landed in Arlington, and we were on a bus to the hotel right as soon as we landed. And it was actually a really smooth and fast transition. And then obviously Major League Baseball is prepared for your arrival. And there was a lot of different people checking into the hotel, but because I was with the players, you go around back, and it's luggage goes straight to your room. They had a big conference room where we could have a meal and spend some time together with the other players. And then Monday, Major League Baseball had everything set up. It was, again, all the players back door. We were on a bus over to the stadium, and took 5 minutes to get there. We were in that Lowe's hotel right across the street from the ballpark, and we were in the locker room.
Well, Gunnar could have won the event and no one would have remembered it, because the only thing people are going to remember is the anthem. So before you could even throw a pitch, there's the anthem. Then you're seeing big leaguers. I mean, the big leaguers. You're not in shell shock of seeing these guys, but still to see an Ohtani and some of these guys that you probably have never seen that are all-stars, and some of the younger generation that maybe went straight majors and you never saw in the minors. What was that like in that pregame to see some of these guys?
Yeah, I got to actually spend a lot of time around them because we were sharing the locker room with them, even the throwers. It's kind of crazy. You still, I'm still a fan of the game. I love baseball. I follow it. So to see some of these guys, like you said, that I've never had an opportunity to see live, to see how big like some of these guys, like Ohtani and these guys are, is it kind of puts in perspective, if how much of a big boy game the major leagues is. Even Gunnar himself. I mean, it's a 6'4" kid, 22 years old, big, strong, physical kid. But at the end of the day, there's a unique environment when it comes to baseball players. And when you get them all into a room, it becomes just like at another day at the ballpark. They're obviously interested in each other and they talk about each other, but they're cutting up with each other. We're in the same locker room with Yankee players, with Judge and these guys. And while I was up in Baltimore, the bench is cleared. Like 2 days ago, everybody was tussling with each other, and now it's Judge and Gunnar and all these guys are hanging out. They're cutting up. They're talking about their families, their careers. It's just a really fun environment to be in.
And getting to see Corey Seager, you guys were the left side of the diamond in 2015 in Oklahoma City. Here's this little 21-year-old pup that's going through the Dodgers system, and then you're probably expecting to see him. He's probably not expecting to see you unless he already knew you were coming.
Yeah, we actually met up. I saw him in the cafeteria down there in the locker room, and he knew I was coming. He was excited to see me as I was him. What an incredible guy. We got to spend a lot of time together. Obviously I think it was no doubt that he was going to be a superstar. But what an incredible, humble individual. And it was good just to catch up, and we told Oklahoma City stories and caught up with each other's families. And that was one of the highlights of the trip, getting back to, being able to see Corey.
Well, the moment of actually throwing in the event, how tough was that?
Yeah, it was, it was unique. I mean, there's cameras everywhere. There's a lot of people. It's loud. Obviously there's nerves involved. There's a lot of pressure on the pitches. And we didn't get to practice much, so everybody else was way ahead of us in the practice realm. We had an idea of where we wanted pitches to go. We wanted to stay up in the zone a little bit, and we wanted to stay in just because we thought his swing worked better there. And Gunnar Gunnar really wasn't interested in changing any of his swing. He wasn't going to come into the Derby all of a sudden trying to uppercut and lift the baseball, because he still has his mind set on the regular season, and he wants to. He's in an MVP race right now. He's one of the best players in the game, and so he's got a real flat swing, and he hits a lot of balls really hard at a lot of really low angles. So we knew that I was going to have to try to elevate the ball for him. And hopefully, he was going to be able to hit some, balls out of the ballpark. It didn't go. Obviously you want to win at the same time. You want to have fun. I thought you checked the box of fun for sure.
Oh, when
and
he's
we've had
got
a
a
lot of
Scooby-Doo, when he's got a Scooby-Doo bat, it's going to be fun.
Oh yeah, yeah, and he's a great kid. I mean, he's a super competitor. And we had a lot of conversations after the Derby. He admitted going in that he was a little fatigued just from the regular season grind. And this guy he's getting dragged in a lot of different places. I mean, this is endorsement time at the All-Star game. But we had a lot of fun. Obviously, we wish we would have hit 100 home runs, or I'd have thrown 100 balls off his barrel that went over the fence. But we've had a lot of conversations since. Super appreciative. He loved everything about it. Yeah, and I think for him too, it's kind of not a once in a lifetime thing. Maybe he does it again, but definitely a box that he wanted to check early in his career, because this guy's going to have a long career, and there's going to be a lot of hardware, and why not do the Derby if asked?
Did you get to see the game?
I did not stay for the game, so we knew it was going to be a zoo getting out, and I only flew my wife and our new baby out. So I had my other two girls at home, and I hadn't seen them in a while. So we wanted to get back to them, and so I actually left my tickets for my older brother, so he could go to the All-Star game and stuff. And so we were out. We were out Tuesday at about 11 a.m. to fly back to Florida. So it was a quick trip. My parents drove up from Austin. They're living in Austin now. So it was nice to kind of get my parents there and my wife.
Yeah, we got an update, your life update when you were inducted into the Hall of Honor. But since then, just give us the rundown where you live and tell us about your family.
Yeah, so we're just north of Sarasota, Florida. It's really convenient. Our spring training complex is 25 minutes down the road, so I get that extra time at home. I have 3 kids now. I have a 5-year-old daughter, a daughter that's going to be 2 in September, and then a baby boy that's 4 months old. So we're busy. My wife is she's grinding. But yeah, we're in Sarasota, Florida. I've been managing now for 6 years. It doesn't seem like that long. And I graduated from LCU in 2000, or left in 2008. So I mean, gosh, it's going to be in 4 years. We're going to be 20 years. It's pretty incredible how fast time goes, man.
Don't say that. You're just I've been there with you. So
Oh,
it's been great following your career, and there's a lot that could come with your future. Do you think you're ready to be a major league manager?
It's tough to say. I mean, I would love the challenge and the opportunity to do it. It's very rarely in the game the way it is today do you see a guy go from managing AAA to managing in the big leagues. I think the first step or the next step would just be impacting a major league coaching staff. I love working with the infielders, and part of my job in the minor leagues, as well as to go along with the managing, is being the infield coach at the affiliate that I'm at as well. So I'd love an opportunity to be an infield coach up there, coach third base, first base, just stay on the field. And then from there, you never know. I think the next step would be a bench coach. And then after a bench coach, now you're getting in the interview room, and people are coming after you to manage a ball club, to essentially create a culture somewhere and get the ball rolling. So yeah, the dream would be to manage in the big leagues. There are some stepping stones. I love managing. I love managing the game, the strategy of the game, players, different personalities. So I would definitely be up for the challenge, but I think the next step would be to impact a major league coaching staff.
Well, talking about coaching, anytime I usually go to him about something you've done, I think he's already in the know, or he's telling me something you've done, and that's head coach Nathan Blackwood. Along with myself and yourself, you talked about it's been 20 years. Well, Nathan's been there every step of the way since you've been at LCU as well. You still are in communications almost, it seems like, a weekly basis with Coach Blackwood.
Yeah, we keep in contact, mainly when their season starts, and through their season. But I think it takes, number one, a special man, and then also a special coach to have the longevity he's had with that program and the success that he's had. Yeah, you don't just win games by happenstance. I mean, there's a reason this guy wins. There's a reason why the program, who's now transitioned from NAIA when I was there to Division II NCAA. They were in the super regionals. I was watching those games, tuning in. It's just continued success for that program, and the guy leading the charge is Blackwood, and the impact that he's had, not only just that baseball program, but the lives that have, the young men that have gone through there. I know I'm super thankful for my time there, and for a lot of people, that's the jumping off point into life, wherever they go, whatever direction they go. And for me, it was an opportunity to get into pro ball as a player, and then from there, just taking the things you learn there, and you build off of them, and you create relationships, and it's gotten me into coaching, and now we're sitting where we are today, and very, very blessed man, and thankful for everybody that's kind of had a hand in my development.
Well, Buck, we certainly appreciate you joining us, and best of luck for the continued of your career and also the rest of this season.
Well, I appreciate you doing this, Chris. It's good to see you guys, and I need to get back out there to Lubbock for sure. It's been a while. It's been since that induction, but we're gonna try to work something out and get out there.
Yeah, come on back. And the world of LCU athletics has certainly changed, and all of college athletics has certainly changed since you've been there. A lot of it has to do with NIL and stuff. And I want to utilize this time for the folks watching that you can join the Shap Club. Go to lcushaps.com/Shap Club, CHAPCLUB, Shap Club. Join us. And I think we've got the website right here, so you can just log on and join the Shap Club. But thanks again for joining us, and thank you for joining us here on LCU Shaps.